I was just like, I want to challenge myself a little bit. And I came up with the idea of maybe breaking the world record. I thought, it hasn't been broken in 20 years. That would be kind of iconic. Um, and so my team was like, whoa, 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 slow down. You know, you got to walk before you can run, kind of thing.
It's JEJE VIBE.
Oh, JEJE.
King, you're filthy vibe.
I'm feeling it.
It's JEJE VIBE.
Oh, JEJE.
Yeah. King, you're filthy vibe.
I'm feeling it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to JEJE VIBE. I got the queen with me. A lot of things are happening.
A whole lot.
Plenty things. Plenty nonsense.
I agree.
And this is one of those plenty nonsense.
It is nonsensical.
We have Lily Phillips.
I didn't even know her name, but hey.
You guys heard from her what she's trying to break the world record. This is crazy.
Do you feel safe?
I'm making money off something that I think guys will do anyway. Guys are always going to sexualize me, so I may as well try and profit off that bit.
I mean, not all guys are going to sexualize you.
I don't really know.
What's going on with Lily Phillips? And more importantly, is she okay? 23-year-old Brit Lily Phillips talks about having been on OnlyFans since her university days, which later unexpectedly turned into a career that her parents ultimately ended up supporting, where she now employs 9 members of staff who help her film and produce content. Throughout Josh's documentary, Lily's low self-esteem and negative self-talk drew some attention.
Just good for one thing, me, honestly. I mean, I'm like a part of the problem. It's so hard because doing extreme stuff like this is not normal.
You would let these guys do that on your face?
Yeah.
And in your mouth?
Yeah.
What if they had HIV?
Is that where it comes from? What's in the mouth?
It can.
Oh, really? See, I've never really thought about that.
When I did 37 guys in a day, I genuinely can't remember any of their faces.
Right.
Or maybe if I saw that, then I'd recognise them. But
The record was set 2 decades ago in 2004 by Lisa Sparks, who is reported to bed 919 men at an adult event held in a secret warehouse in Warsaw, Poland. And in hindsight, even she thought it was a bad idea. To be completely transparent with you all, this event is the one thing I regret doing in the 23+ years in the adult industry to this day. This was also the only job I agreed to perform strictly for the money. This event was never anything I ever planned on, and the entire event was a complete shit show. I wish this topic would die and we all move on to something relevant. I was disappointed, but was excited to fly home and not spend any time in a foreign jail.
This is crazy.
Crazy.
She said 14 hours of 100 guys. These guys flew all over. From Australia for the 100 guys. And she said this is a test run for 1,000.
100 was like a dry run for the 1,000. That was kind of the idea. Because I have a love for gangbangs, group scenes, things like that. And, after about 6-7 months of shooting porn, I was a bit like, it's all samey, it's not very unique or anything like that. And I wanted to do something exciting for me because, this is what I love at the end of the day. I was just like, I want to challenge myself a little bit. And I came up with the idea of maybe breaking the world record.
Now she's going for 1,000. What is going on?
The 100 afterwards, she did talk about her experience and how, I don't even want to say horrific it was, because she was crying.
Crazy.
So, I mean, obviously it was a very exhausting day. And very, very stressful, very hard. At some points we were like, I don't even think we're going to hit 100 and stuff like that. And so it was a very long day at work. And as soon as I finished, this documentary team was kind of filming everything. And I don't think I got a second to really shower or have any kind of think about anything until they kind of started probing me for questions and was putting a camera in my face, asking me, what about every little detail. And so, yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm sure you guys have seen the clip of me where I'm very, very overwhelmed. It was a very intense experience and, a very stressful day at work. I'm sure everyone has them days where they come back from work and,
With someone.
Yeah. Just one in, one out, like it feels intense.
Like more intense than you thought it might.
Definitely.
Sorry.
It's okay. Just take
Yeah, 1 minute. I think I was when I talked to you last, like I was not nervous. It was like the day before I was like, oh, I'm so nervous. But it was good. It was more, I guess the interactions when like, I'd have to stop them early and like, you'd have to stand on business and be like, I'm so sorry, you got to go. And like the awkward interaction of like you feeling pressure to have to make them come if like you haven't spent enough time with them and feeling like you didn't give them a good time because like they only got 2 minutes.
And that's what's making you feel emotional, is that maybe you think you didn't give some guys a good enough time today?
Yeah, and it's hard, I think, having the interactions with them when they're like, what, you're not going to make me finish? I've come all this way. Like, kind of like guilt tripping me a little bit. I felt bad, like some people just travel so far, like I didn't want to give them a shit time and like come away from this and be like, oh, that was shit. I think sometimes like feeling so like robotic, like by the 30th, like when we're getting on a bit, I've got like a routine of like how we're going to do this. And like, it just, sometimes you'd like disassociate and be like, like it's not like normal things at all. In my head right now, I can think of like 5, 6 guys, 10 guys that I remember. And that's it.
So after going through that experience, now ordeal. Now and crying about how horrific it was. Now you're putting it to the power now.
Straight up.
I'm not going to be patronizing in these questions. It's money and it's fame. These are demonic possessions. What people will do for this sort of attention. You're getting a lot of it right now because you've done something. You're saying you're going to do something that no person has done and sleep with 1,000 people in one day. But how do you ignore what you felt after that and how you felt after that and just put on a happy face and pretend that it's normal when it so clearly was not? Like, you clearly were traumatized by the experience.
I personally don't think I was traumatized. I chose to do this. This was something that I wanted to do. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say it was fucking easy, but I don't think I was traumatized from it at all. I think as well, obviously, from what you might have seen from the documentary, like a lot, the good points I talked about was also very much cut out. At the end of the day, they're there to tell a narrative. And that's kind of the narrative that they went for, is like, this seems like a sad girl, and I don't want people to pity me or feel sorry for me. This is what I chose to do.
Right, but why were you crying? Are you saying these were happy tears?
No, I was extremely overwhelmed. Like, it was very intense. And yeah, I mean, the experience was obviously like, we had like an hour conversation after, and obviously when he started probing me about some experiences in it, it was, it brought up some tears. I'm a very emotional girl, so I cry a lot.
It's going up to 1,000. This is crazy. From 100 to 1,000. What are we doing? Is this what society is heading to? And this is what is being talked about?
Is it supposed to be something that should be accomplished as an achievement? Really?
This is crazy. This is crazy. She's heading for the Guinness Book of Record.
I think one of the questions that I certainly had when I was reading into your story was, I think that you kind of tried to portray it like you had this like normal upbringing. And I obviously don't buy that because I have children and I have a daughter, and your mother being involved in this signals to me that you had anything but a normal upbringing, because there's no mother that would spiritually want to see her child violated like that, because that's what it is, whether you perceive it or not. Your mother is watching you or helping you or dealing with the finances of you being violated 100 times in one day. And so I was very disturbed by that more than anything else. Is like I've heard of OnlyFans girls. I've sat down with them, respectfully on the whatever podcast, and a lot of them have stories and they understand that, my mom, my dad, my upbringing didn't do this. It led me to this choice in life, but you don't seem to have recognized your mother's abuse in this, which is quite alarming to me. So I'm just curious about your relationship with her.
I mean, my parents definitely don't describe having as, what did you say? Sorry, abusive or
Violating.
I don't think it's abusive. I think
She said
your daughter
violating.
being violated 100 times by strangers is abusive.
So my parents don't describe it as being violated. They don't really see it in that way. They know I've always been very liberal, and to be honest, my parents, they don't necessarily, they're not coaching me into it. They're not telling me, please keep having these people at all. They're not, they're not really exactly, I wouldn't really say like supportive, but at the end of the day, they love me. And what is it going to do if they disown me, stop talking to me? That would only cause more heartache. So they see it from a standpoint of, my mum does like my finances because she wants to help me. They just want to do what they can to help. It's not so much like if they disown me tomorrow, like I think that would just make everyone more upset.
Are you giving your mom a cut?
I'm not arguing that they should disown you. I mean, I understand like a mother's love for their child. I'm saying that it is unnatural for your mother to be counting the finances that you're earning from having 100 strangers violate you on the internet for cash, and that is the part that there's just no way to normalize that. There's no way to normalize that. I'm a parent. There's no way, like I have a daughter, and the idea of being involved in that, like, it's not saying that if she goes down that path, that you're not going to be there and pray and hope that, she changes and speak to her about that and say, I'm always going to love you. But I view it as predatory, parental behavior. And I don't think it's fair to even describe it as my parents are liberal. I mean, I'm obviously not a liberal, I'm a conservative, but none of my liberal friends, liberal family members, their parents would view this also as demonic, whether they have faith or not. They would just say, what parent would want that for their child? Because your mother is old enough to understand what the implications are for your future. You already comprehend what the futures are, making it, I get that you turn everything into a joke. I think you do that really to protect yourself as an armor. I don't think you actually think it's funny, but to recognize that like you're a beautiful young girl, and you're never going to have the prospects. You're not going to have a man that wants to have a family with you because they're going to see you as damaged goods. Your mother partaking in that, just so you know, is a form of abuse. It is. It's abusive.
I personally don't see it as that. I mean, my mum's just trying to help me. But what then would you suggest my mother does?
Try to talk you out of it. Like a mom is supposed to guide their children when they're doing decisions like that and say, listen, I understand you may think this is that, or you may think it's this way, but you're a beautiful young girl. You have your entire future ahead of you. You have two parents that love you. You could marry a man and raise children and have a happily ever after. Or you could be the girl who everyone knows, who can't have a child that goes to school without people making fun of them. I mean, imagine having a son and they say like, your mom's on the internet. I watched her get by 100 men, or a daughter, something which is just like, it's so precious, that relationship between a mother and their daughter, like your mother should want to guide you in that way and say like, this is the path that you could have. Like your future could be amazing, and you're giving it up for, this is not, by the way, fame, it's infamy. You're establishing yourself as someone who's going to be infamous. It's going to pass so quickly. The money's going to be in your bank account, and then there's going to be the next girl trying to one up it, and no one's going to care anymore. You're going to fade into irrelevancy, but you're never going to have a normal relationship. And that's what your mother should be telling you if she actually loves you.
And it's a free word. You can do whatever you want to do. It's on you. On that note, we'll see you guys in the next video. It's JEJE Vibe.
Oh, JEJE.